Right, we all here? Just press chat. Press one in the chat if you can hear me, please. I'd really appreciate that. If you could just press one, and I'll know that I'm being listened to, and that we can get this going. Okay. I need you all to press one if you can hear me. Brilliant. I can see one from Jed Kane. Thank you. Brilliant.
Michael, I love you.
All right. So it wouldn't be a live stream in these early days if I didn't arrive a few minutes late. First ever stream, I think I was late by almost an hour. Second stream, slightly better. I had to postpone. And third stream, I think I was late by maybe 25 minutes, half an hour. And today, what's it? 10 minutes. Say something. Please go on. Say something. All the haters, say something. No, I'm only joking. I've not got any haters. Who am I kidding? Not got any haters. Right. But I do have a lot of we do have a lot of supporters out there, and for all of them, I'm so happy. Thank you, Lauren Greenfield. I can see you. Human, thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Day ones, early birds. Right. We all kind of know what we're talking about today. I've been posting community posts one after the other, constantly all week. Family, it's been a difficult few weeks. Just welcome the arrival of a new member of our family. So, I mean the True Black family, right here at home. Yours truly. So it's been very hard getting videos out and just focusing on getting the content out. So, you know, I hope nobody's kind of lost patience with me in terms of regularity of what I put out, of the content I put out. So thank you so much for bearing with me. Please hit the like button. Helps get this video out there once we're done, once we're cooked, and we all go our separate ways. It helps get the video out there. So if you can hit the like button, that'd be really great. I really appreciate that. So I'll wait for a few more minutes, 5 more minutes, and then I'll get cracking. I'm gonna just be here in the meanwhile, just mess around with a few buttons, making sure everything will work smoothly tonight, and that will be that 5 minutes, and then we'll get cracking. Someone says, "Can't I tot as a joke?" What's that mean, human? Anyway, I'm just gonna be on the side here, okay? In the sidelines, as it were, and just 5 minutes, then we'll get cracking. We'll wait for a few more people to join us, and we get going.
I love you.
That's not the mods. That's not the mods, human. That's I think there's a 5 second delay when you type something. So there's a 5 second delay when you type something, just so that it's not just to kind of let others have a word and have their say. It's just to moderate the flow of things in the chat. So I don't think anybody took your comment out. It would just have automatically put you on pause for about 5 seconds. Yeah, cool. Hello, passports and profits. I like the name. I love the name. So family says, so right back at you.
My Michael, I love you.
All right, let's put a stop to that and let's get crack-a-lacking. All right, I just want to show you guys something. At any moment, if anybody can't hear me, just let me know I'll be monitoring the chat, and just let me know instantly so I can fix it. Okay, because I don't want to be talking to myself here. As good as much as I like my voice. Okay, so if you can see what's on the screen, that'd be good. Let me know. Press 1. And what you can see on screen is a website called Country Living. Country Living. And the reason I'm showing you that is because there we go. The reason I'm showing you this is because this is where the journey started for this. So I don't really like doing live streams because I'm not used to it yet. Okay, so it's off the cuff, just free flow. I have prepped a few things, but not too much because I don't want to be stiff either. But I like to I like to have an idea for a video and just script or just whatever, get it out, script, find the information I need and get it out there. That's just, I'm just a square like that. But not long ago, about a fortnight ago. Um, I've already got a few ideas for a live streams in the back of my mind. However, something just came up. Something just completely took over unexpectedly, and it started right here with this website that you can see right here. If you're in the UK, we've got this periodical that comes out every month. It's called Country Living, and it's for those that it's supposed to be a sort of upmarket magazine that shows you what life is like in the countryside for people living in the countryside, living a good life in the countryside here in England. You got recipes, you got country life, shooting, hunting. There, don't you know? Just the upper middle class sort of existence out in the UK. Basically, how Americans think everybody in England live: bowler hat and a castle and a moat. Um, but I every now and then I just happen to have one in my possession. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. For my birthday, one of the things I always get the missus to get me is a just a country living magazine. It costs about £3.50, I think. And just like to peruse it. It's got something to do with a childhood memory, and I just like to do it on my birthday. So it's really weird. It's really complicated. I like to go through it and daydream what life would be like as a country gentleman in England. So I'm reading through. I think it's March's edition of Country Living, and looking at the houses on sale. It's pretty heavy on house advertising, property advertising. And I'm reading through Country Living, and I come across something completely out of the blue, and it was called BADA. And what does BADA stand for? Well, it stands for Antique Dealers Association, and I'd never heard of them before, never ever heard of them before. But I decided that I would look them up because they had this advert on, and it was an advert for. It had a couple of pieces being exhibited in the advert, and they were antiques. I think 2 out of 4 of them were ancient Egypt artifacts. I thought, wow, they looked authentic as well. So I was like, okay, cool. This is something. Let me go and look into BADA. And you go on the website and you find just antique after antique. We're not talking stuff from the 1800s. We're talking things from antiquity, ancient stuff, ancient Greek terracotta vases, chests, statues, figurines. And you're coming across ancient Egyptian stuff as well, and you're coming across some African things, some stuff from African civilizations that we don't get to see often. I think, oh my goodness, this is like this is where the rich and the powerful come to swap, swap like little collection cards, swap marbles. And so I just thought, wow. I went on their online catalog and I found so many different things on there. Found Egyptian busts, and the more I kept looking, the more I found that these artifacts that I'm looking at, some of them, first of all, some of them I've never seen anywhere before, or they're like seeing some stuff from Africa, stuff from West Africa, thinking, wow, these aren't even in museums. So I think, oh my goodness, this is a great idea for a live. Let me park everything I'm prepping in terms of the other lives, but let me just delve into this because I've always wondered. I don't know about you guys, but I've always wondered, what is it that the how do they get away with it? How do they get away? When you go to, I did a live last year, around this time last year, and it was basically my visit to the British Museum. And as much as I got to see at the British Museum, you knew there were more things in the basement. You just knew there were more things in the basement that they weren't showing us. I saw ancient Egyptian statues of pharaohs, wall reliefs, friezes, that you just thought, oh my goodness, there's no denying what you're looking at. These are African people. These are black people. Of course, there's cognitive dissonance amongst the regular people who are just going by and who are looking at these statues. In fact, there's a video. I took a video of myself talking about these. One, I can't remember. I think it was a statue of was it Hatshepsut? I can't remember. And it was undeniable that this was a Negro woman, that this was a black woman or a black pharaoh. And as I was talking about it, the woman next to me just gave me like a, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, a bombastic side eye, like a side eye, like what are you who is this guy talking about black pharaohs? And I couldn't help but remark on it in the moment, like, talking about Karen giving you evils over our history, over my history. So she's looking at me like, oh my goodness, I'm stuck with a hotep. So I made a comment about it. But I think the people who go to these things don't even realize what they're looking at. They've been told so much, so often, that this has nothing to do with black folks. This is nothing to do with Africans. This is a Middle Eastern quote unquote civilization, that they don't even think twice about it. So yeah, that was an interesting live that I did. But even throughout the day, myself and my missus, as we're going through, kept saying, imagine what they've got in the basement. Imagine what they've got. Like, it will imagine the treasure trove of things that are out there that we don't know about, that they just keep to themselves. So I couldn't help wondering, that thought stayed with me from that day. So fast forward to a few weeks ago, I'm thinking about all of this. I bumped into the thing on Country Living, and I'm thinking, wow, this has to be done, because what I discovered, Bada was like a gateway drug, guys. Bada was British Antique Dealers Association was a gateway drug. It was the gateway for me onto other websites, onto other private collections of a private reservoir of these ancient antiques, these ancient statues, and I just kept finding more and more. And the more you found, the more you think, how could it? So let me take it to this. Let me take it to this. All right, let me just stop. I'm rambling now. Okay, let me set this up for you. So we talk about stuff that is in the basement that they don't let us know about. Now, this isn't just conspiracy. I'm going to show you an article from 2023, 17th August 2023. That's around when this started. There's you will not believe when I tell you that the British Museum claimed sometime last year that it had thousands of ancient artifacts that went public, that the public didn't know about, that's just in their basement in the British Museum there, literally, that have apparently gone missing. Gone absolutely missing, like just vanished into thin air. Okay, so I stumbled on an article last year in The Guardian, and unbeknownst to me, that article itself was a bit late. It was late to the game, okay, because actually the story has been running for a while. I'll take you to the Telegraph. Just share my screen with you guys. And this is a Telegraph in August, 17th of August, 2023. And here's what they say. Stolen British Museum items worth up to £50,000, 50k, offered on eBay for as little as £40. Okay. Missing jewelry has been turning up on the online auction site since at least 2016. Stolen items from the British Museum worth up to £50,000 were offered for sale on eBay for as little as £40, the Telegraph can reveal. So you got artifacts worth £50,000 being offered on sale on eBay for as little as £40. So that was broken by the Telegraph last year in August. Missing jewelry has been turning up on the online auction site since at least, listen to this, guys, since at least Okay. Let me compose myself. 2016. Because I just skim read this before tonight. Actually, I'm reading this for as much as you are for the first time, effectively. Right.
Billions and billions and billions.
Okay. Oh my goodness. One sec, guys.
Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and
There we go. All right. Okie dokie. Right, let's get back to it. Okay. Yeah. All right, here we go. We're back to it. Okay, so missing jewelry has been turning up on the online auction site since at least 2016, and an antiquities expert told the museum 3 years ago that they suspected a member of staff was stealing from the vaults. So, how these things tend to go is there's a patsy to blame. They've got someone ready to blame for all these failings. The man dismissed by the museum after an internal investigation into the thefts is Peter Higgs, a 56-year-old curator of Mediterranean cultures who has worked there for more than 30 years. It leaves the museum facing serious questions about its handling of the thefts, which are now being investigated by the police. So you tell me that things have been going missing from the British Museum since 2016, being sold on eBay, and people only found out in 2023. And apparently, when they found out, it's all Mr. Higgs's fault, or a Peter Higgs, 56-year-old curator, Mr. Higgs. So, okay, let's keep reading. Mr. Higgs, who has organized major exhibitions at the British Museum and written books to accompany them, is innocent of wrongdoing and devastated to have lost his jobs, his family said. Okay. Right. Okay. Right, I'll keep reading. On Wednesday, the museum announced that an unspecified number of items of jewelry made of gold, semi-precious stones, and glass dating from between 1,500 BC and the 19th century AD has gone missing. Okay? We're talking thousands of years now, a span of thousands of years. One piece of Roman jewelry made of onyx, a semi-precious stone, was offered for sale on eBay with a minimum price of £40. A dealer said its true value was between 25,000 and 50,000. Okay. All right, let's just stop right here and skip past a few bits. Let's go to Professor Martin Hennig, a leading expert on Roman art at the University of Oxford, said lots of smaller objects in the museum's collections were not part of its online inventory. He called on the museum to ensure its collection has a proper catalogue, adding major things do get catalogued. There are a lot of minor things which are not, or which are all lumped together. So these men they are reputed, the British Museum is reputed as being the world's curator of history and whatever. You'll find that online. You'll find that as a self-styled moniker they've given themselves. I don't know. Someone's given it to them because let's look. The British are masters at propaganda. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. So I don't know that people have given them this moniker of the British Museum. I don't think anybody's actually given them that title. I think they've given it to themselves. And I've convinced the world that actually your stuff is safe with us, Just, we're good. We're the curator of your things. Because as things stand, Greece has beef with the British government over something called the Elgin marbles, I think. Elgin or Elgin. You got all of Africa saying, can you give us all of our stuff back that you stolen, that really isn't yours and that is ours, that you claimed, like, we don't have any culture, any history, and yet you've got all these artifacts of ours. Can we have that back? So I don't think anybody, apart from the British, thinks that they are the rightful curators of all of this, all these goodies, but whatever. You got the curator, the cell-style curator of the world, of these ancient goodies, saying there are lots of minor things in their collection, and some of them are lumped together. And we've been selling some. Some of the stuff has been ending up on eBay. Anyway, this was last year, right, guys? All right, let me show you another article. Just going to set this up for us because I think it's important to set the stage properly. All right, let me show you something else. Okay, got that one there. And we go to the next one. What are we looking at here? Right. Let's go to this article. Well, this was behind a paywall. What you're about to see was behind a paywall, and I'm not gonna pay. Who's this? Heritage. New Lines magazine. They say the British Museum. This is now. What date are we on now? We're talking the 23rd of August. No, this article appears. It says 29th of August. Right. British Museum is in trouble on two fronts on stolen heritage. Right. The recent revelation of artifact sales adds to the underlying issue of what to do with looted objects from abroad. Okay. Looted objects from abroad. Ooh, there's a nice picture. Look at that. The Benin bronzes. There. Nice little picture there. I saw those last year. It was impressive. There's nothing like actually seeing these things in person. And I was so proud to witness them as an African myself. Okay, some reports. Create a free account to continue reading. I don't think so. Thank you very much. I don't think so at all. Some reports say 1,500. Others say the number is closer to 2,000. The British Museum itself has refused to comment on the scandal, threatening to take down its reputation as the custodian of world cultures. What the heck? This man said the custodian of the world's culture, Okay. Who gave them that? I don't understand. Who's made the British Museum the custodian of the world's cultures? Okay. They don't tell us. They don't tell us at all.
That's suspicious.
Yes, it is, Cardi. Yes, it is. Okay. But it is clear that it has been systematically looted from the inside. So who's done this looting? Yeah, who's done this looting? Okay. Among the 8 million objects in the museum's holdings are various treasures that have been popping up for sale. Ooh, they're just popping up for sale. Yes. Okay. This is popping up for sale. Some on eBay, others directly to antique dealers around the world. A senior curator, I love that name, that word, curator, identified as the prime suspect, has been fired. Right. Don't you just love this? It's just brilliant. It's so tidy, nicely done. We don't know, okay? We're talking about, this article says, others say the number is closer to 2,000. 2,000 things have gone missing. We're talking
billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and
we could be talking billions out here. And it's only one man to blame. We've only got one man to blame. Sorry guys, I'm a bit high tonight. So we got 2,000 pieces possibly missing, and this has been tied to one person. Does anyone believe that? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't believe it. This looks systematic. This looks like a proper operation to me. Okay? A senior curator identified as a prime suspect has been fired, and the director general himself has stepped down in the wake of the crisis. There's your other Patsy. There's your other fall guy. But the ramifications of such a humiliation could well go further than the fate of a handful of individuals, and the epic efforts now required to trace the stolen and sold artifacts. Create a free account. No, I don't think so. I'm going to do things my way. Okay. Right. Let's move on. Let's move on indeed. Right. Here's this article. Now, this was the one I came across last year. Now, I'm just setting this up for you because some people are going to say that when we talk about stolen artifacts and stolen history, it's almost as if it was something that was done in the past. It's like people like to think of these things as and you do get that a lot. You get that energy. You get that energy in the comments on videos, and you get the energy in amongst the black community, our own community. Let's say the community. Okay. Some of our people will say, when I say our people, I mean some of other black folk. So one happy family, so one human family, right? But some black folk too will look you straight in the face and will tell you, it's all in the past. You need to chill out a bit. It's no. This stuff's still going on. Okay, it's still going on, and it's just being done with a little more finesse than was done decades, maybe 100 years ago. Okay, and you have to willingly participate in that finesse for it to be its most effective. But if you don't choose to participate and you have your eyes opened, then you can really see that you're being finessed. Okay, these people are still taking, and when I say these people now, I'm not talking about color, I'm talking about class here. The people who have gone around robbing the world of robbing other people of their heritage and history, and just messing with things that they shouldn't have been messing with. They are still doing this behind closed doors, except they're doing it in a way where they can cover their backs. Listen to this article. Hundreds of items missing from British Museum since 2013. Gold coins, silver necklaces, 540 pieces of pottery are among the hundreds of historical artifacts missing from the British Museum since 2013. Since 2013. The British Museum revealed last week that police were investigating items that were, quote, missing, stolen, or damaged from its collection. Legal action is being taken by the London-based institution against a member of staff who has been sacked. The Times reported on Thursday that a Freedom of Information request to the museum had disclosed that a Greek silver coin, a 4th century Roman coin, and a gem. Notice this, all the European things. They're not... Okay. An early 20th century ring, a chain made up of round section silver wire, animal-shaped wooden opium poppy scorers, Emails leaked to BBC News claim the museum was alerted by Itai Gradel, an antiquities dealer, to items being sold on eBay in 2021, but that it ignored the report. So the British Museum officially first got this, caught on to this in 2021, and only decided to make it an issue in 2023. 2 whole years of some of the world's most world's most incredible, most I know what you'd call it, important historical artifacts, and it takes you 2 years for you to alert the police.
That's suspicious.
Hmm.
That's weird.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's suspicious, and I think it's weird. Okay, so we can go on. We can actually go on. It's it doesn't end there. So there's this piece I wanted to show you guys. Check this out, family. 1 second. All right. Hi, Lauren Greenfield. I think I've already said hi to you. Is anyone else there? Okay, cool. So I'll just go back to this. All right, let's go back to this. 1 second. Boom, we got this here. Let's go. Let's go. Right in here. Okay. How to download some of these because I don't want anything to overload my streaming software. Right. British Museum bought ancient Egyptian artifacts from convicted antiquities smuggler. Did you hear that? No. Did we hear that? British Museum bought ancient Egyptian artifact from convicted antiquity smuggler. Right, let's scroll up. Let's see what this is about. The British Museum bought an ancient Egyptian artifact from a dealer with a conviction for smuggling antiquities out of the country, the National can reveal. The museum bought the Shabti, a figurine found in many ancient Egyptian tombs, from Musa Cooley, also known as Maurice Cooley. This guy's got pseudonyms, right? He's a real pro, who runs an auction house in New York. It told the National the artifact was currently the subject of its cooperation with an investigation by U.S. authorities. It said the nature of its assistance to the U.S. authorities was ongoing. Experts have questioned whether the museum carried out any due diligence on Mr. Cooley and the wisdom of it relying on scans of ownership records provided by a criminal whose convictions include making false statements. The British Museum was embroiled in scandal recently after it was revealed 2,000 artifacts had been stolen from the institution over a significant period of time, leading to the resignation of its chairman, Hartwig Fisher. Mr. Cooley pleaded guilty to buying and smuggling Egyptian art antiquities, including coffins, funerary boats, and limestone figures, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York. So this is Mr. Cooley now. He is known for this. Man is a straight-up gangster. Carry on. He smuggled them into the U.S. by making false declarations to customs about the country of origin and value of the items, prosecutors said in 2012. U.S. authorities this year revealed 77 antiquities seized from Mr. Cooley in 2012, along with the Egyptian artifacts, had been returned to Yemen. British Museum records show a Shabti dating from the 13th dynasty of ancient Egypt, which lasted from 1782 to 1650 BC. And it says BCE, but I don't know what your problem is with Jesus, because it's BC, man. It's BC. Was bought in 2017 from Mr. Cooley's Palmyra Heritage Gallery. Angelica Hellweger, a lawyer and art crime expert, told the National Cooley's name should have raised red flags with the British Museum. I'll say that again because I fluffed my lines a bit there. Angelica Hellweger, a lawyer and art crime expert, told the National Cooley's name should have raised red flags with the British Museum. You're telling me nobody knew about this guy? You're telling me nobody had ever heard of this guy? With all the experts we're led to believe are always involved in these things. Nobody, this guy's a notorious gangster, an actual gangster out here. Known for this. And the British Museum said they don't, they just, it's just, you just don't know. Just don't know how these things happen. All these intellectuals, all these experts, curators. Come on. Okay, right. She said it was astonishing. Oh, I am astonished as well. Astonishing that the museum accepted the scans of documents showing family ownership from someone convicted of making false declarations. Where are the originals? That's what I want to know, because a scan can be manipulated, said Dr. Hellweger, a legal director at London. Like, dude, all this fake outrage, we know what it is. So my theory, what I think is going on, right, is that they know the British Museum knows what's up. It's got a reputation. What you're going to see tonight as we go through some of these artifacts that I found in private collections that aren't regularly presented but are just sold from one institution to another. Many times, just private individuals buying things off these auction houses. A lot of us don't know about these auction houses. They are high level auction houses. You don't get the adverts for these antiques in, I don't know, in the Sun newspaper or the Daily Mail or the New York Daily Post or the New York Post, whatever you guys got in America. You don't get that. You don't get these adverts for these antiques in such publications. You get them in things like Country Life, Country Living magazines that I was reading, daydreaming, reading, a few weeks ago. That's where you get the adverts for these things. Okay, so what I'm trying to show us before I go into it tonight is that this practice is more widespread. We talk about, the artifacts should be returned. The artifacts in the possession of the British Museum and the public museums and art galleries should be. No. We need to go further than that. There are stuff in private hands. I couldn't even. What I'm about to show you is a fraction of the stuff that I found. I can't go into it all because we're just gonna be here for. I think the last stream I did was 4 hours. I'm telling you now, we'd be here till 6 in the morning, in the AM, if I was to show you everything I found. We might have to do a part 2. We'll see. We'll see what the people say by the end of this. See if it's worth doing a part 2 of this stuff. But right, let's get into it. I'm just gonna take this off screen for now. Okay. Let's do this. Let us do this. Yeah. Nerd large. I know it's before Common Era. It's just I don't like using it. I don't like using it at all. It's just it's unnecessary. It's just an unnecessary change in how we've always done things. So yeah. I mean, what is the common error? You mean it's literally the same as BC? Nothing's changed. It's the same as BC and AD. Anno Domini, year of our Lord, before Christ. It's the same. It's the same time scale being used, but they decided, we don't like saying that guy's name, so it's just snowflakes. Okay. I'm reading another comment here. It says, you guys say the buyers on eBay are in cahoots. Yes, they are. Peter Westinghouse, hello. I think I recognize your name. It's familiar. They have plausible deniability if questioned by the police. They can say they bought the artifacts where they thought the artifacts were cheap £40 items. I didn't even think about that. I did not even consider that. Jedediah Kane says, why no charges brought? Where Cardi at again? Yeah. We're gonna get lots of Cardi. Cardi is vexed, man. Cardi is so vexed about a lot of this stuff. In fact, Cardi is just completely
That's
off her mind.
suspicious.
She's off her mind. She thinks it's all suspicious, She doesn't like it at all. Right. So let me show you what I found at Badder. How about we go into that? We'll go into that quickly. Right, let's do it. I really need something to help update me with the chats because what I'm getting right now is not helpful. I'll just say that. It's slow in updating me in terms of what's going on in the chat. Okay, cool. Never mind. Not to worry. I will persevere. Persevere. Right. Okay. Let's get the screen back up. Ooh, that's something. me show you what else I got here. Let me show you what else I got here. Let me slow down a bit. I don't want to miss anything tonight, guys. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to leave anything on the table. And then people come and say, well, not people, but then me, myself, talk to myself at the end, and I'm just vexed with myself, thinking, why did I leave that? Because I was rushing things. I want to rush things. Let's take it nice and easy. Nice and easy, smooth. Okay. What be this? We're just gonna go. Right. So. Sorry. I've got to show you this. Just to show you, what we're dealing with. Just to show you the perfidy, the absolute perfidy, the mendacity. Oh my goodness, I love that word. The mendaciousness. No, the first one was better. The mendacity. The lying nincompoopness of some of the people we're dealing with. Okay. We've got here, it says, this was the article I was showing you before. So, look at these people trying to cover their behinds. Listen to what they then did on soon after I think in those 2 years that they supposedly knew about this stuff and they didn't come out with it, they were trying to work out a story, okay? And they didn't even need 2 years. They could just come out immediately and said a load of rubbish, But I think someone there was trying to cover all the tracks, make everything, sell off enough pieces before we need to really call the police and make it public. But really, this is what they're now doing. This is a piece from a release from the British Museum itself. Soon after it came out that they've been cheated. They've been doing some dodgy things. I'm so angry about this. This is unbelievable. Anyway, oh gosh, right. On 16th of August 2023, the museum announced that a number of items of jewelry from the collection had been found to be stolen. Right, let me do it in my British Museum voice. This is the voice we're going to go with because we want to solve things. We want to get to the bottom of things. Damn it. On 16 August 2023, the museum announced that a number of items of jewelry from the collection had been found to be stolen, missing or damaged, and that this was the subject of an ongoing investigation by the Metropolitan Police Service. The museum also spoke of its determination. You hear that? Determination. Yeah. To recover the items. This webpage gives details of the losses, describes some of the things that we are doing to recover the items, and says what you can do to help. Now they're drafting you in on the con. So we now have to play the game with them. All right, what is missing? These people are jokers. What is missing? So they're going to show you like a couple of things, mainly Greek, mainly European. And the reason they're showing you the European things is the fellow European countries aren't really bothered about getting their things back. Yeah, it's an incestuous sort of relationship there. They don't, Greece isn't bothered about getting its stuff back really, and Rome or Italy, they're not bothered about getting their things back. Now, some of the African countries are. Even if they were bothered, they are bothered, but even if they were, what could they do about it? They can't do anything about it. But they can make a heck of a lot of noise. We can make it embarrassing for them. We live in a supposed age of everything's equal, and the West is used to be bad, but now we're morally got all our stuff in order. We don't cheat anybody anymore. We don't look down on anybody anymore. But really, if the African countries, which they do, some of them, if they were to make a bit more noise, it's embarrassing. And so what they've done here in this piece is you're not going to see any examples of things that belongs to the African diaspora and pertains to our history. Because, imagine that. Imagine the outcry. Imagine the woke outcry. right? So they've not done that, but they've tried to save face with this. Oh, help us sort this out. We want to get to the bottom of this. All right, let's go. Okay, what's this piece about? All right, it's just saying the same old thing. You know, what was stolen, just focuses on rubbish. Okay. Right. I wanted to show you this. Well, what's this? This is a piece by my good friend. I've never met him, don't know him personally, but I consider him a friend. Know Thyself. He put out this post yesterday, I believe, or the day before. And it was about the anonymous seated scribe. And I think it's worth reading to you guys. If you're not subscribed to Know Thyself, I think you should. Know Thyself says this. The anonymous seated scribe. The seated scribe is one of the most recognizable artifacts of ancient Kemet. But who is he? Here's a picture of the seated scribe. If you don't know anything about Dr. Manu Ampim, you should. Dr. Manu Ampim is an expert Egyptologist. He's an expert chemetologist and a nubiologist. And he was on the King's Monologue about last week. And he did a brilliant job of, in a two-part sort of a thing. In the first part, he talked about, he focused on the Nubian civilization, which often gets overlooked for Egypt. Then the second part, he masterfully took apart a lot of fake artifacts. Obviously fake. You should go and watch that video. The live. It's up on TKM's channel. It's amazing how step by step Dr. Manu Ampim just dismantles these frauds. The seated scribe. I want to show you what the seated scribe looks like. Unbelievable fraud. I don't even really want to go into how we know this is a fraud. If you can't look at this and tell straight away and have your alarm bells go like off that this is a fake. First of all, this isn't the paint. This isn't the color that the ancient Egyptians often painted themselves. This is an attempt at whitewashing that color. The color is a deep brown, and quite often what has happened is that color has faded. This looks like limestone, and on limestone quite often the color has faded or has been not even faded, but I will go as far as to say deliberately scraped off. But when you get these fakes, you often have, quite conveniently, the color still, after thousands of years, still maintaining its luster and its unlike some of the other pieces. Right, let me just read Know Thyself's little word on this. Okay, so I'll go back up, and he says this: the seated scribe is one of the most recognizable artifacts of ancient Kemet. But who is he, and why is he so famous? Why is he the most recognizable artifact of ancient Kemet, and why did modern Egyptians feel he was important enough to place him on their currency? This seated scribe statue is considered to be the icon of all scribe statues and one of the most important symbols to the Arab Republic of Egypt. Now, this seated scribe is a rarity. Another reason how you know this is fake is because, look, I got little kids at home, and as they're learning, they're just putting their cognitive functions together. They're getting to that age that they're passing toddlerhood or whatever you call it, and they're maturing. And one of the games that we play with them to get their brains, working and firing properly is pick the odd one out. You lay out a couple of pictures, an array of pictures, and they're supposed to pick the odd one out. Instantly, they're experts at that game. They're experts at that game. They're within a range of 4, 3, 2, and they can tell you the odd one out. This scribe is a perfect example of show me the odd one out. You're going to see tonight what scribes really look like. And this seated scribe is so odd when contrasted, when juxtaposed with what you tend to get in ancient Egypt. So much so that if you can't see it, I can't do anything for you. I cannot do anything for you. You know, it's like, wake up, wake up.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Yes, Pastor TD Jakes. It's wake up. It's like, I can't do anything for you if you can't see how fake this is at some point. Okay, the seated scribe. So, but this is what's important. This is what Know Thyself is stressing here, is that you will have this, even though it's the odd one out, it's a rarity. You will have this piece that looks decidedly more like a modern day Arab on the banknotes in modern Egypt, when there are a myriad of other pieces from ancient Egypt that look nothing like your modern Arabs, that look like a black man, at the very least, a black Nilotic man from East Africa, from Southeast Africa, you know, but they won't put that up because they know if they put that up, people after a while, people will look at these images and say, and look around, and you'd go to Egypt, you'd go to Cairo, and you'd look around and you'd say, look who's on this bill. This looks nothing like you're walking around here in your hijabs and your peshawars or whatever it is they wear out there. This looks nothing like, these are straight up black people, you know. But they don't do that. So what they do is they put this guy up who looks decidedly more like your modern Egyptian, an Arab. So Know Thyself says, unfortunately, we don't know the name of this scribe, don't know what he accomplished in his lifetime, and actually don't know a single fact about his life. There is no documentation of the excavation of this discovery, which is odd, and no glyphs on the artifacts, which is odd, which tells us who he is. The Central Bank of Egypt issued 200 Egyptian pounds that depicts the statue of the seated scribe in 2007. These banknotes are still in circulation. This unknown lowly scribe is famous only for his fair skin and Asiatic features. And you will get this scribe, this one of like a handful of pieces that you will get brandished in front of you. If you claim if you have the misfortune of being in a somewhere like what do you call this, a Quora board, debating these closet basement, mama's basement racists, they're always up with these images to show you that, oh, look what they look like. They look nothing like you, ignoring the plethora of Egyptian artifacts and monuments and figurines and statues and whatever and shabtis that look just like your average black person wherever you are in the world today. They will ignore those to show you the seated scribe here. Something's going on. Something's funny, no? Unfortunately, we don't know the name of this scribe, don't know what he accomplished in his lifetime, and actually don't know a single fact about his life. There is no documentation of the excavation, blah, blah, blah. This unknown lowly scribe is famous only for his fair skin and Asiatic features, not for any accomplishments during his lifetime, because not even his name is known. His importance has been over-exaggerated, and he has no importance. He's fake. No one knows anything about him at all. Okay, considering the fact that the early 19th century was considered to be the age of forgeries and Egyptomania, it is not completely out of the realm of possibilities that this is simply a bad forgery. For a detailed lecture of the horrible forgery of Rahotep and Nofret, follow the link below. And I think that will be the link to TKM, the King's Monologues channel, in which he interviews Dr. Manu Ampim. Professor Manu Ampim. Okay. I could go on, subscribe to Know Thyself, and that's in his community, in one of his community posts. Right, let's go on. So, I've got another page there of Professor Manu Ampim. These are some of the frauds that this is the Rahotep and Nofret. I think we all know about it. It's unlike anything you see in ancient Egypt. It's just nothing else like it. Let's see what Dr. Manu Ampin has to say about it. It's so clear that these are fakes. If you don't know that these are fakes, if you can't tell, you even have one with a nose job. Damn it. it. Look at this. You have one with a nose job, a bad nose job for that. Look at this. You can see. Oh my goodness.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up out of your sleep, wake up out of your sleep, wake up, I command you in the name of Jesus.
I command you. Yeah. He says, I command you. I command you. And let me tell you what now. If you swallow this, this load of rubbish, then I don't know. I don't know what to say to you. If we haven't got the trolls out in force tonight, so if we haven't got the trolls out in force tonight, if we had, I would have
been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming?
I would have played that for them. Okay, right. We got this guy. This is Dr. Manu Ampim's this is Dr. Manu Ampim's website, and this page is titled "The Vanishing Evidence." Kanda, yes, they are. They actually. It is infuriating. Please interact. I need you guys to talk in the chat because I want to talk to you. I want to hear your thoughts as well. Let me know how frustrating it is. I'm here laughing, but it's a cliche. You have to laugh. You have to laugh. Otherwise, you you will lose your mind. You will lose your mind. Okay, right. No Diddy Nerd Large. No Diddy tonight. I'll get on to Diddy. I'll get one for Diddy too. Okay, right. Let me just go to what he says about Manu Ampim. About what Dr. Manu Ampim says about Rahotep and Nofret. Okay. He says this. I'll just skip. And he says this. The reconstruction methods of the conspirators range from crude to sophisticated, and each process has the intent of changing the African racial identity of the images. For example, paint colors are systematically lightened or completely erased. Noses are broken off or sanded down on the sides to make them thinner. The length of the lips are shortened to make them appear smaller. Chins are knocked off to distort the facial structure, and other images are completely fabricated, like Rahotep and Nofret, as you're about to see. Look at this guy, like this guy here, with a complete fake nose job. I don't even know why you would do that, but because it's obvious what you. Right. Here's what Dr. Manu Ampim, in his absence, you have to go and watch the King's Monologues video about this. The Rahotep statues violates a long list of clearly defined rules. If you're an Egyptologist and you don't understand this, then you're not. It's a fake word anyway. It's a cartel. The whole thing is a cartel. There's no such thing. There are historians, bona fides historians, and then there are frauds. Okay, if you're a bona fides historian, I quote, Manu Ampim says this: the Rahotep statue violates a long list of clearly defined rules. A few of these rules are: Rahotep is a royal son and high-ranking official, but he does not wear a wig. What Manu Ampim there, and I'm pretty sure he knows this himself, it's not even a wig. We've seen the hair of the ancient Egyptians. It's African hair. It's the occurrence of these wigs being found is almost next to none in the tombs. Just like the crowns, because the crowns aren't crowns. Much of what you see on the reliefs are fabric or organic material weaved around the natural, upstanding black hair of these pharaohs, of these people. And if you look closely, you will see the indentations that show the curls and the tight curls as you would expect on black African hair. Again and again, you've got stratified, echeloned hairstyle, dreaded locks. I'll show you a video later in this live that absolutely proves this. But what Manu Ampim is doing here is showing that this is a prince. He's a prince, and he looks like a pauper, a straight up hobo bum. I don't know who this person is beside him, but it's not Nofret. A few of these rules are: Rahotep is a royal son and a high-ranking official, but he does not wear a wig. He has a grey mustache, and he never had an emblem in his right hand across his chest. Never. Okay. Rahotep's entire kilt belt is shown on his lap, rather than the universal, that's emphatic, the universal ancient Egyptian practice of showing one belt end protruding from the waistline. Look at this paint. This looks like it was spray painted. My people. Look at the paint on the arm. Look at the paint on the arm. Look at how it interferes. Look at how it encroaches on another. This is not high ancient Egyptian art. This is a shoddy mock-up job that was done during the age of frauds, during an age when, sorry, I'm gonna have to say it, Caucasians were freaking out about the fact that the oldest, most grandiose civilization in antiquity, the longest lasting, Egypt's civilization and empire and influence lasted thousands of years. The Egyptians saw the Assyrians go and come twice again. Neo-Assyrian Empire, the Assyrian Empire. They saw the Babylonians, they saw the Neo-Babylonian Empire rise, fall, Babylon, and they were still there. They had their own rises and falls and rises and falls and rises and falls throughout all of these things. So you have these people freaking out about the fact that this civilization belongs to, oh my goodness, black people. And so they do this. They don't just fabricate to meet a market that's in demand of these intrigues, but they fabricate in a way that saves their blushes of what they've been doing for centuries. Lying on people, saying that they have no history, saying that these people you see out here, they did nothing. They never did anything till we came and we picked them on and put them on slave ships. They have to fabricate. So when they're making these false statues, they have to do crappy jobs like this. Okay. Let me... I really encourage all of us to go and watch that video from Dr. Manu Ampim, by Dr. Manu Ampim and the King's Monologue. It's an eye opener. It's an eye opener, and I'm glad I watched it. So let's go on. There's the fraud. Okay, here's sorry. We also do have, again, it's a case of spot the difference. We actually have authentic friezes, authentic wall reliefs of Rahotep. And in those wall reliefs, he has plump lips, what you can only be described. Go and compare the statues of other Middle Eastern civilizations. They like to make you believe that the ancient Egyptians were Middle Eastern in origin. Okay, go and compare the Babylonian statues, Babylonian representations of themselves, of their own aesthetics. I'm not cussing anybody or any of a race. Far be it from me, but they have their own idea of what they consider beautiful and worth highlighting. And it's not plump lips. It's not full cheeks. Prognathism, pronounced prognathism, as we say in technical terms. It's not broad, broad, wide noses. It's not that. It's not locked hair. It's not afro hair in some cases. It's not short cuts, the short faded afro that typically black people wear when they can't be bothered to do anything else with their hair. It's not that. You get all the other images of Rahotep have these. They have these markers. This doesn't. In this long-awaited book on modern forgeries, Professor Manuel Ampim systematically documents what he calls two of the greatest forgeries in the history of ancient African archaeology. For the past 10 years, Professor Manuel Ampim has carefully documented that the statues of Prince Rahotep and his wife Nofret in the Cairo Museum are not authentic ancient Egyptian statues, but were in fact created in the 19th century by the hands of modern conspirators. Professor Ampim presents a painstakingly researched argument to show that these famous statues could not have been created in the Great Pyramid age around 2600 BCE, and that they were instead created by modern conspirators in a bold attempt to place a strange, pale-skinned couple in the middle of the 4th dynasty African royal family. Ampim presents an array of data to show that the Rahotep and Nofret statues are indeed modern forgeries. Ampim uses several categories of evidence to present a well-documented case of modern fraud. For example, he discusses: Number 1, the historical context in which the Rahotep and Nofret statues were supposedly found in the 19th century, a period which has been considered by some historians as, quote, the age of fakes. So it's accepted. It's actually not a debate. The period that these statues were discovered, this one specifically, was the age of fakes. Okay? Right. Comparisons of the famous Rahotep statue with all other known images of him, as well as comparisons with his family members and with dozens of other statues from the Old Kingdom. So like we've already said, you compare these images with what you typically find, it has nothing, it doesn't... And, someone said it's infuriating earlier. It's also, part of why it's infuriating is they didn't even make an effort. They didn't even make an effort, yo. It's not even close when you compare these images, some of these fake images, with what's authentic. So, but yet these stand in the museum in Egypt. Okay, as the peak of high Egyptian art. Okay. Another thing I want to say before I forget is that in that Cairo museum, you will actually find the Cairo museum is actually quite poor, and that's ironic, isn't it? It's not by accident. In terms of what it actually has, it flags behind massively a lot of the Western museums and their collections of ancient Egypt. Why is that? You ask yourself that. The people who supposedly run Egypt today, Arabs, the newcomers, they're not bothered. They're not bothered about this stuff because it's not their history. So they will happily let European nations have the authentic pieces whilst they hold on to these forgeries, so that when you go to Cairo thinking, well, I'm in the land of the pharaohs, I should now see the real gems, the highest of ancient Egyptian art. What you're getting are these frauds, and they're not bothered because they would rather you come to Egypt thinking you're going to get the authentic stuff and be faced with these frauds. Because, well, why not? It perpetuates the lie. Come on, come back to me. Okay, good. We're reconnected, I think. We're reconnected. I don't know why we went off there, but it says we're reconnected now. All right, let's go back to this. And that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. We'll stop there and we'll start with Bada. Let's start with Bada. Let's start the next phase of this cookout. Okay? Oogly doogly. Okay, right. All right. Here we have something, it's an Egyptian alabaster. Um, it's a perfume holder. I'm just going to go to the thing here that gives us information about it. Beautifully carved alabaster and fine-grained banded alabaster, likely from Egypt circa 6th to 4th century BC. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Jesus sat at meat with the Pharisee, brought an alabaster box of ointment. I think you all know that story of the whole alabaster, where the woman comes and she perfumes. I don't know. I don't know how many people know it, but I know that story. And this is beautifully carved, a slender ovoid body, finished with a flare lip and 2 log handles, etc., etc. And I just thought to include this because this goes on to say that Egypt, right around the beginning here, this piece is made from a fine-grained banded alabaster, which with rich honey and ochre colored veins, likely imported from Egypt, a well-known source for high-quality alabaster in the ancient world. And I've included this because, do you know what, guys? I've been doing just tertiary digging, not proper investigation. There's something I used to laugh at a while back. I used to laugh at the idea of black Israelites, but it's not so wild. It's not so crazy. It seems that we've been lied to. I'm still not gonna go out and say all of the original black Hebrews were black. I'm not gonna go out and say that. Again, I think there was a massive quota of those people that would have been black. I mean, blacker than black folk. I found this. Let me just show you this quickly. Let me come out of this. Show you this, guys. Check this out. This is in a private collection. It's in someone's private collection. Where is it gone? And I'm saying this because, okay, this is supposedly a Semitic slave. Can you guys see this? It's a Semitic slave. What does he look like? It's found, I believe, in ancient Egypt. Again, you've got the fade there. You got the low cut fro, tightly packed hair there, black hair, black to brown skin, and again the nose has been taken away. But the more and more I research this, it doesn't make any sense. I saw a comment in on someone else's channel recently, and it said, doesn't make any sense that you're next door to Egypt. That's where Canaan is. And the line for black people stops right there on the border before you go into Canaan. It doesn't make any sense, especially if the Israelites, the ancient Israelites, the original Jews, came out of Egypt as per their legend. It doesn't make any sense that they would just be, I don't know, pale colored, all of them. So I'm looking more and more into that. Anyway, this piece that I showed you is important to me because it says, and it's been sold on BADA, on the British Anti-Dealers Association, and it's important because if Egypt is a noted center in the ancient world for alabaster, and it's right next door to Israel, right next door to Judea, right next door to the Promised Land, then you've got trade going on, you've got warfare going on, you've got all sorts going on between the two civilizations for thousands of years. Why? I don't. If you look into it, I'm willing to say now that I take it back. I think I made a video very early on in the history of this channel where I kind of did I guffawed, I kind of giggled at the idea that, Jews, what do you call it? Jews, black Hebrews. No. If the ancient Egyptians were a black people and a black civilization, and the Israelites spent, 400 years in Egypt, they didn't stay isolated. If they were even separate to begin with, it seems that there is truth. There might be just a bit of truth to this idea that the Israelites were a black people too. Again, that's for another time, and I'm keeping my eye out on other people doing research into that. Be interesting to see if Mr. Imhotep or anybody does any looking into that, or Without History. Without History does some great stuff. Okay, right. Let's keep going. Let's keep it moving. This is nothing. This is an Egyptian bronze statuette of Ta they don't put prices on these things. This is how you know you're dealing with the elite. They don't put prices on these figurines here. Beautiful bronze statuette depicting the Egyptian god Ptah, 25th to early 26th dynasty. Now, if you know anything about the 25th dynasty, you know that's the dynasty they give us. You know that's the one they say, oh, that's the black dynasty. That, of course, everyone knows the 25th dynasty. Yeah, they came from Sudan. They came from Nubia. Yeah, of course. Check this out. Let's take a closer look at this Ptah statue. His nose isn't particularly broad. He's got plump lips. He's got the normal hair of a black person. It's not free flowing. It's tightly packed. The almond-shaped eyes, prominent cheekbone area. Typical, if you know what you're looking at, typical African look that you would see. And this is the Egyptian god Ptah. Now, who's Ptah? This goes back to something that people often miss. A lot of the Egyptian gods in their representation, I'm thinking of Bes. Anyone know the god Bes? That's a black face. That is a black pygmy man that the god Bes is based on. Now, the black pygmy god Bes looks as black as you can get. Let me just quickly look and show you guys an image of Bes quickly, and show you something here. I'll show you who Bes is. Show you what's going on out here. Let's search for Bes. You can get Bes. No, not that. Not that at all. Do you know what? You can Google Bes yourself. I think we all know what Bes looks like. I've got it in one of these. All right, 1 sec. Ooh, we got a super chat. We got an OG right here with us. Got Black Rampage in the chat, and he's just let his presence known.
Here comes the money.
He says hype. All I'm getting is hype. And he's dropped us a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Black Rampage. Your cred in this streets out here goes before you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, brother. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's ignore Bes for now. Let's go. I don't want to get sidetracked. Let me not do that, okay? Let's stay with this Egyptian god Ptah. And the reason why I'm going to stay with this is because This is the 25th dynasty representation of this god. And my point is, a lot of the Egyptian gods, a lot of them, you can't deny what you're looking at when you see them. We often complain about how white folk made Jesus like this white dude. But it's to be expected. They've whitewashed. I mean, you're going to paint your gods the way you look. I happen to be a Christian. It doesn't really matter to me what color he was. But whilst we're on it, I don't think he would have looked like blonde-haired, blue-eyed like they say he did. Okay? But if you're gonna depict your gods like you look. So the 25th dynasty, the Nubians, this is as black as it gets with them. But let's look at what the Egyptians, let's look at how they depicted Ta. Let's have a look. Let me show you what something called the Glencairn Museum. It's an American museum. Let me show you their image of Ta. Here we go. Come on now. Don't take your time. Come on. Here we go. Are you guys seeing this? Are you actually seeing this? Look at this man, or God, as the Egyptians knew him as. Can you look at this and tell me you are not looking at a black man with a straight face? I mean, we have the unfortunate circumstance whereby some of the ancient Egyptian statues, some of the representations they're Nilotic, and Nilotic peoples can have and tend to have less pronounced Negroid features. They have slightly more aquiline noses. Their skin can be darker than some West Africans I know, than many West Africans, but you still have an aquiline nose. You'd have a slightly thinner pair of lips. But come on, look at what we're looking at here. I believe this is definitely one of the early dynasties, okay? A representation of the god Ptah, and he's a creator god. This is who the Egyptians, when they picture their creator, this is who they looked at as the creator. Only with the study of Egyptology, can you look at somebody depicted in Africa like this, okay? A lot of the colors gone. This would have been what? It's looking like dark blue. And again, I point you to TKM, The King's Monologue. He did a great 5 minute, 8 minute, I think not up to 10 minutes, a video on the color scheme that used by the ancient Egyptians. Blue wasn't actually blue. Blue was blue-black. They used blue to represent the darkest shade of black. And so when we see blue in the representations, it's not that they're saying they have a blue god. They're using that to mystify, to say this god here that we worship is black. There's no two ways about it. And the god Ta here looks to have that same hue, albeit having kind of come off. But again, forget the hue that you see here. This is a black face, okay? And this figurine is in the private possession of the Glencairn Museum I believe, in the USA. This statue is done by the Nubians, but it's not debated that this is a black person, really. I mean, if the Nubians are doing their god, their visualization of Ptah, they're not doing him as a white person, are they? Or a Middle Eastern person, so to speak. But yet, that being said, their representation, their version is less black. It's decidedly not as Negroid in its features as the Egyptians themselves would have it. So, what's going on there? This is in private hands. This right here is being sold on the. What am I doing there? It's being sold by the British Antique Dealers Association. And let's just quickly read what they have to say about it. Standing mummy form and wearing a tight-fitting skull cap. He's wearing a skull cap. How did they... This guy said he's wearing a skull cap.
That's suspicious.
No, it's not suspicious, Cardi. No, it's not suspicious. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Let's hear it again. Yes. It's hilarious is what this is. Unbelievable. These people said a skull cap. That's his hair. Have you ever found any of these skull caps? No. Never once. Not in the history of this, of digging up these graves and stealing and robbing from the dead in Egypt. Have they ever found these skull caps? It's hair. It is hair. Yes, Craigar, in Jamaica, we say that you are black till you blue to describe someone who is very black in complexion. Yes, of course. Blue black. We know about that. It's only when it comes to Egypt that the experts don't know anything about any of this. Anything about actual anthropology, anything about actual anyway, whatever. Right. Let's just move on because I'm gonna get bogged down. This isn't even touching the sides. Egyptian bust, and notice they're not putting the prices. I don't see the prices by here. Again, these people, this is how corrupt it is. Okay, they'll say somewhere in the bottom it will say inquire via email. Can you see this? Inquire via email. Okay, this is how the rich do it. This is how the very, very, very high-powered hoarders, thieves with a bit of cash, this is how they do it. They don't tell, you're not going to see the price tag on here. You're going to call, and if you're really interested, this is yours for however much you want it. This is real history being just ancient history. Goodness knows how much this is going for. Can you look at this face and tell me that you are not looking at a black man? In Africa, tell me you're looking at these almond eyes, this broad nose, looking like someone tried to chip at it, but couldn't get to it quick enough, you know? This head shape, I had a friend with a head shape like this at school. These high cheekbones, this pursed lips, it's not pursed lips, it's just defined lip formation like we have all over Africa. And you can tell, can you look at this and honestly say this is not a black human being? No, you can't. Let's move on. Again, compare and contrast the Egyptian art form, how they present themselves throughout their history, throughout their artwork, how they present themselves, even without coloration, which has been controversialized. Oh, it's red. Oh yeah, they were just depicting a red group of people. No, even without coloration, look at their facial features. It doesn't tally with what you get from all the other ancient civilizations that live next to them. The Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Persians. That's not how these civilizations depict themselves. The Hittites. Long noses, pointy noses, different shapes of heads, different hair texture. But for the Egyptians, everybody, common sense goes out the door. Okay. Right. This is an owl, Egyptian bronze Horus falcon, being soldered. Again, you don't have the price there. Look at the provenance. With Mrs. D. Samuels, acquired before 1971. Sotheby's, London. Take a look at this beautiful piece of, and Dr. Manuel Ampim spoke about this. He said when he was talking about the frauds, the fraudulent pieces that you get in with the Nofret and Rahotep statues, he spoke specifically. He said Egyptian art is, ancient Egyptian art is high art. What you see when you look at, can you tell me, he presented a pair of geese and he showed how meticulously detailed they were. Look at this Horus owl. Look at the detail on it. Look at the structure of that beak. Look at the eyes. Look at the indented, where the socket for perhaps a gem would have been. Probably a gem has been taken out of that. I don't know. I'm just speculating there, but it wouldn't surprise me. Look at the etchings on its body. You know, this is not a civilization that's then going and doing. Let me show you again. Let me show you what these people are up to. That's then doing. Where are you? Where are you now? Where are you? That's then doing this. The same people who've made this owl, the same types of artists who've made this owl, have not then gone and done this. Look at the paint. Look at the paint, people. And the intellectuals, they present this to us. They tell us, believe us, these are, the intellectuals.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
Not intellectual. Again.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
You're a fake and a fraud. Let Alex Jones tell you about it. Okay. Right, let's go. No, don't want that. Don't want to zoom in that much. Right. I think this is the last piece from Bada I got here tonight. This is interesting to me because I'll read the description of this. This is Old Kingdom 5th Dynasty. I'll just quickly show you what we're talking about. Zoom in a bit. You don't really need to be told this is a woman, mainly because of the prominent chest region there. And that says it all really. The prominent chest region there. And so let's just go out of this. And this piece is going for, we don't know how much. It's price disclosed on inquiry. And let's have a look. Let's have a quick look. Let's zoom in. This is late 5th dynasty, circa 2400 BC. Fragmentary limestone relief carved with the upper part of a seated scribe, 2 reed pens tucked behind an elongated ear. The figure possibly holding a scroll or papyrus. Behind him is the bowed head of another male figure. Blah blah blah. This isn't. Okay, cool. Well, that's embarrassing. No, this isn't the description I was looking for. There's another description of this that purports to it being a woman. So what you're seeing in the front is a woman, and behind is someone else, a man of some sort. But I was gonna make a wider point, a much wider point about it. But I don't wanna. I've got lots to show you, and I don't really want to go off the deep end looking for the alternative description of what we're looking at here. So let me just move on. Quickly. Glencairn Museum. Right, let's come out of this. Okie dokie. Right, we're done Glencairn. Let's look at what we're gonna go to next. Right, let's look at antiquities.co.uk. Now, I made the mistake of venturing on someone else's YouTube page a while back, and I'm not gonna. The channel is called Neural Pathways. Okay, I don't know if you press 1 if you've heard of the guy in the chat. Just if you're around, press 1 in the chat if you've heard of this guy's channel, and he presented a series of images of ancient Egyptians, and they were black as these are black people. Okay. And I don't know where he sourced them from. Some of them I recognized, but most of them I didn't. So I commented. I just felt like I was in the mood. I was in the mood to stir something, because I've seen other people, probably people who are familiar to my channel, and to other people's channel, to people like the King's Monologue, Kweli Mika. I've seen other people from our end of the spectrum go on that channel and say, "Oh, so they were black then," and they just get slapped down by this guy who owns the channel as, "Oh, just very condescending comments come back. You know the kind, typical. Now, I decided to enter my hat into the ring the other day when I just thought, do you know what? I'm gonna play with this guy a bit. I'm gonna make a comment about the blackness of the images that he's showing, and you won't believe what. Anyway, let me go into this image first, and I'll tell you. Oh, go on, and let me just show it to you. Let me show it to you. All right. So, and I don't know if Black Rampage is still in the chat, but sometimes it's actually worth taking some people on about their lies. And I took this guy on and I said, cool photos, but are we still this is just the first one. This is the first one. And if you were to go on, I've downloaded the whole screenshot. If you were to go on, I think there were up to six of them, and they get more African as they go along. And I said, cool photos, but are we still going with the whole we're tanned, not black story? He comes back with, no, we're going with the evidence. Egyptians were painted with tanned skin. Nubians and people from sub-Saharan, there's that word, sub-Saharan Africa were painted with darker skin, usually black. Unless you have different evidence, let's discuss. This, just so you guys know, this set of slides that he's presented on his community page, this is how he's titled it: Egyptian and Nubian wall paintings. Apparently, the more important you were, the bigger you were painted in comparison to others. That dude with his foot getting massaged must have been the Egyptian OG. All right, not funny at all, but whatever. Okay. So he says, we're going with the evidence. Nubians and people from sub-Saharan were painted with darker skin, usually black. Okay, so I replied with, right, because all black Africans throughout all of time have painted themselves the color of coal with no conceptualization of tone variation whatsoever. Like we don't have evidence of Egyptian reliefs using dark brown and plain black to depict Nubians and Egyptians interchangeably. See Tomb of Hoy and many others. Like we don't have Greek sources telling us they were black and skinned and kinky haired and using the same exact terms to describe other Ethiopian and Nilotic peoples. Like studies haven't been done debunking bogus genetic studies which claim the ancient Egyptians were Middle Eastern in origin. Like we don't have anthropological studies concluding most Egyptian mummies cluster with the Negroid body plan, even super Negroid. Like we don't have the fathers of Egyptology, from Volney to Champollion, who himself deciphered hieroglyphics, painfully admitting the ancient Egyptians were black Africans. Okay, broski, you keep searching for your evidence. Don't let the evidence get in the way of your search. I don't know what Prince in our Raqqa is saying. Who is tan to you, not dark? Sometimes you get these. I don't really know what he's saying there. Okay. So, Nathan Claspo. Claps. Yeah, something's clapping. Nasty boy. Are we still going to pretend that there aren't Egyptians still around that match the physical and artistic? Shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Neural pathways. It's the same skin tone. This is his reply now. This is the guy's response. It's the same skin tone as anybody I've ever seen in North African countries. But user HY4 comes in and makes a brilliant point. He says this: that's funny. Your post depicts Nubians as tanned, and in response to this man, you said they are painted black. Very well done. He carries on. Bro is literally posting the evidence and asking for evidence. You cannot make this up. If you just go back to my last live on this, this is what I'm talking about when I say white psychosis. This guy is saying in his passive aggressive, condescending, nasty, know-it-all tone, Unless you have different evidence, then let's discuss. You just posted Egyptian and Nubian wall paintings. Not a single one of them. I wish I could go on to the thing now. It's too long to bother with. But you just posted successive images of Nubian and Egyptian wall paintings. Not one of them was blue black or black, the color of coal. There was a typical dark brown that you see the ancient Egyptians depicting themselves as, and the Nubians. Okay? And he's telling me that I need evidence to show him that something that he's already shown, to prove to him something that he's already proven. And I really thank user HY4 for doing that. In any case, this is the part of the psychosis that I mentioned in the last live that I did the whole live about. This, sorry for a want of a better word, white psychosis. You know, asking for evidence that's right before your very eyes because you just don't want to believe what you're seeing. So I said, what skin tone? This guy, Neural Pathway, says to me, it's the same skin tone as anybody I've ever seen in North African countries. Come on, you're behind. My behind it is. What skin tone is that? Oak brown. Same with the afros and the short knotted dreadlocks you see the characters donning on the wall reliefs too. You see Rami Malek and his modern North Africans wearing those too. And I say, you people are something else altogether. Now, I drop that in there deliberately. I drop that in there because I've seen this guy's interchanges with people like myself before. He's done this exact same thing before. He'll come across, he'll present a front of, well, present the evidence. This channel is all about debate. Any links, any academicians you can point me towards. And the minute that person does that, you get complete crickets. Nothing. You get nothing at all from this guy. You just get, like I said, crickets. So, but then, eventually, as somebody else is debating that the original poster, the guy on our side will then, maybe in response to an antagonizing remark by a third party, will then say something out of bounds, slightly out of bounds. And then Neural Pathways will jump straight back in and say, you're blocked. No, you're blocked. That is discriminatory. That's race. He doesn't respond to anything that's been said bona fides. He asks for evidence. He gets links or whatever. He doesn't respond to it. But the minute that person steps a bit out of line with a third-party person, he'll jump back in the fray and he'll block the person. So I thought, let me leave this comment and see what he does. I've just engaged with him. I've said to him, look, the Greeks depicted them as black. They depicted themselves as black sometimes, jet black, and sometimes brown. Anthropological studies have shown it. He didn't respond to that. But what he did respond to was me saying, you people are something else altogether. And what I meant by that, it's not white people. I'm talking about racists like him. Dirty, smelly racists like this man. So he jumps, just like I thought he would, right onto it. The only one here being racist is you, dude. You people. Ha ha. What a D word. I ban racists on this channel, so be gone. Poof. What's he talking about? What's he talking about? What are you talking about? Poof, be gone.
You gay?
I mean, what's that about? What's that about? Poof, be gone. Right, whatever. That's not me, but that might be you.
You are gay.
Yeah, I think so. So, being simple, and it just went on. It was pointless. It was completely pointless. But I just showed you that as a little divergence to show you the hypocrisy that we get in this. Let me show you this on the antiquities.co.uk. This is a British website, and I want to start with this. Roman terracotta North African oil lamp. Now, there are people who believe the North Africans, not just the Egyptians, never had anything to do with sub-Saharan Africans. That's not even a real term. Sorry to use it. Never had anything to do with black Africans. It's all made up, right? Okay. This is going to have to be done in 2 parts. I'm going to have to show you the rest tomorrow. Maybe even 3 parts. Now, I'm going to do an experiment. I want you to tell me, please, I need your interaction in the chat for this. I need you to tell me, I'm going to zoom in on this image. First of all, I'm going to read the description to you. And then I'm going to zoom in on the image. I'm going to show you the image on its own, singularly. And I want you to tell me what the woman looks like. Okay? We are led to believe this is being sold on antiquities.co.uk, I believe, is the website. And this is being sold for £695. It's a terracotta North African Roman oil lamp featuring an elongated oval body and a circular discus. A raised ridge surrounds the discus, which continues around the large nozzle hole to form a broad canal. Okay? A solid spike-like handle, which is flattened on each side, sits at the top of the lamp. The base of the lamp is supported by a ring foot joined to the handle and known as a patera. The discus, with 2 filling holes on either side, is decorated with the profile of a lady, that's a typo I'm guessing, of a lady, wearing a sakos headdress and an elaborate necklace. If anyone knows what a sakos is, please let me know, because my expertise isn't on that pay grade. I don't know what a sakos is. I looked into it. I couldn't find a sakos in the ancient record. Her profile is surrounded by concentric geometric designs. The shoulder is enriched with various motifs, including floral, circular, and square designs. This oil lamp would have been made in a mold. Now, what you will find when you're dealing with ancient artifacts is, ancient artifacts found on the African continent that belong to civilizations that are supposedly, according to the experts,
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
according to these fake intellectuals, you will find that when they look decidedly, when the images being represented look decidedly European, you have those features described. You have people talking about how she has a long, beautiful aquiline nose. However, when you have African features on something that's not meant to be African, that's meant to belong to Egypt or the Moors, or they don't talk about it. So nothing in this description points to what you're about to see up close. Because if you examine this properly, this is a North African woman being depicted on this, in the Roman era, on this oil lamp. Have a look at this. I did this experiment with a few other people. I asked them to have a look, to tell me what they see, if they can see the same thing. And I want you to tell me if you can see the same thing when you zoom in close to this woman. I mean, they went fools in the ancient world. If they meant to depict something, they depicted it. And I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna just sit here and not do anything, and you guys just let me know. Let me know if you can see what I'm seeing. Just someone tell me if there's anything. I think we got 28 people in the chat. So please, somebody, please, excuse me, I'm just chewing a Jaffa cake. Forgive me, pardon me. I'm quite hungry. Let me know if you know. Is there anything anybody can say about this? Is it just me? Excuse me. Right, Kanda. locks and full lips. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Kanda. Thank you, Nerd Large. This is a North African woman, maybe in the region of Libya. That's a sister. Thank you, Science and Inspiration. That's a sister. But we are told that, and she doesn't just look like a sister. She doesn't just look like a sister. She looks like a powerful sister. She looks like an empowered sister, right? Full lips, a broad nostril looking individual, and elaborate locks. Okay? Right. Let's go out. Let's go back to normal size. Nothing mentioned of that description. Now, this is important. This is being sold for $695. This should be priceless. This should be in an African museum somewhere being displayed. Fine, if the North Africans don't care about it because they're not really Africans today, they're relative newcomers whose ancestry you can trace back to the Turks and the Ottomans and some of the Northern Arabs, not the Southern Arabs who are in origin decidedly African. That much can be proven. But these people are descendants of Turks, Caucasoid people, Aryans, and Northern Arabians. If they don't want it, they should give it to someone like, I don't know, put it further south. Mali's somewhat stable, relatively so. Give it to some of these people. Stop selling these pieces. Stop selling these beautiful pieces of art that belong to us Africans. And we all know what I'm talking about when I say Africans. Because why this is important is because a while back, again, massive props to others who have gone before me. I'm listening, as I normally do, to the King's monologue, chilling out, relaxing, Max is shooting some b-ball lats, so that was cool. Okay, right. Stop. I'm doing that. And it's like King's monologue mentions ivory bangle lady. And I think to myself, thank you, Patrina Oldfield. She's got braids. Yes, it looks like it. Prognatism says science and inspiration. And yeah. So I'm listening to King's monologue, and King's monologue mentions ivory bangle lady. And I think, who's that? I never heard of that. And she's purportedly, let's go and find out who ivory bangle lady is. There you go. Let's go with ivory bangle ladies. Wikipedia says this about ivory bangle lady. The ivory bangle lady is a skeleton found in Sycamore Terrace, York. We're in England now. In 1901. She was a high-status adult female, potentially of North African descent, who died in York in the 4th century AD. Her skeleton was found with bracelets, pendants, earrings, beads, as well as a glass jug and mirror. She appears to have originally been from North Africa. A piece of bone inscribed with the words, "Hail, sister, may you live in God," was found with her skeleton. So she sounds like a Christian, an early Christian. She's found in York, and her provenance is been traced to 4th century AD. She's North African. She's found with accoutrements that are decidedly African. Ivory, which was highly prized. In any case, highly priced and exotic. In any case, what ivory bangle lady has come to represent is, I think she's supposed to be the earliest known instance of Roman civilization, of people from the Roman civilization settling in England. Okay, I'm trying to look for where it says that specifically. In any case, she's supposedly one of the earliest Roman settlers of Britain. Okay? So you got one of the earliest Roman settlers of Britain being African. Now, when I say African, I'm not saying African as in quote unquote North African. I'm talking Black African. That piece that we just saw, the terracotta lamp, put me, as soon as I saw that, I remembered Ivory Bangle Lady, who I had heard of from the King's Monologue. And I remember when I first heard of the Ivory Bangle Lady, I thought, it can't be true. Come on, go on, guys. This might just be another half-assed piece of wokery. Maybe they got us this time. Maybe it was just an Arab person from North Africa. You know, one of these. So I look into it, and I like to be balanced. I watch some of these channels, some of these guys who are out there constantly debunking our history, telling us we're sub-Saharan and that's thus far and you shall not pass kind of thing. So I watched a few of their videos, and they say, oh, no, there's no way she was sub-Saharan African. This is just black folk with their black history and their woke history, trying to rewrite history. So I've only done a very peripheral, sort of perfunctory, just a cursory look into this. I'm talking just Wikipedia. But I watched one video and it said it made this assumption. This guy completely bloviating, completely up his own hoo-ha, what, saying, well, it's obvious anyway, even if she was African, she was North African. She was North African, so she couldn't have been black. Is that so? Okay, you look into it. Her height was calculated using regression analysis of her limb bone length to be approximately 152 to 160 centimeters. I'm reading from the Wikipedia entry now. Significantly, this research also used 4-disc that's an acronym, I don't know what it stands for, 4-disc to identify the Ivory Bangle Lady as having North African ancestry. This conclusion was reached following craniometric, that's scientific study of the skull and the type, craniometric multivariate analyses, including measuring Mahalanobis distance, which suggested a strong affinity with 2 reference populations of African American females from the 19th and 20th centuries. So, to break that down, they've literally said, we've done a study on this woman's body, her skull, her skeletal features, and the closest people that she clusters with are African American females. Yes, she obviously is from North Africa, but this Ivory Bangle Lady, her skull, everything about her screams a black woman, like a typical black woman. Okay? So, but you got people running around here saying, let me debunk this. First of all, there were no blacks in North Africa. Like someone said in the chat, they will say that she, Bangle Lady, was a Roman slave. They are hopeless. Yeah, exactly. It is psychosis. It is literally psychosis. We were never meant to be anything or have gone anywhere until they sailed over and said, right, we need some slaves. This is the thing. And I keep coming back to this. I actually believe that what's happened is that racism is worse today than it was 100 years ago. It's worse because it's now insidious. It's metastasized and fossilized. It's encrusted in a deep sort of underneath. It's beneath the surface, but it's there attached. When it was on the surface, at least you could sift it off. At least you could kind of scrape it off and say, that's racism. I know you hate me. You know I hate you for what you think of me. So I'm going to fight against that. I'm going to speak up against that. But racism today has become something that, oh, no, we don't practice. We're all disinterested academics and we all just want the truth. And you're just seeing ghosts everywhere. You're just paranoid. You just got a chip on your shoulder. Whereas what's really happened is it's too embarrassing. after all these years of shaming the racists and shaming them for their worldview as being unscientific, immoral, whatever, it's gone away from the surface. It's gone underneath because some folks can't let go of it, can't let go of their superiority complex or inferiority complex, as you would have it. It's gone underneath and now it's denied on the surface, but it colors everything underneath. It colors everything on, and some people don't even know they have it. Some people don't even know they have that bias. They will just freak out if you accuse them of it. Or even worse, they can't, like I showed you with neural pathways earlier, they can't wait to turn that card against you. They can't wait to say, what? What do you mean by you people? No, I mean you people. I mean, actually, yes, okay, fine. If it's a Venn diagram, typically a lot of those people will fall in the category of white. But that's sad, but it's true. But you people, I mean the racists, the people who will deny what their eyes are seeing, because to accept it would be to say, oh, shoot, you're not inferior to me. In some cases, your history actually shows that at some points in history, you were superior, let's say, if we're going by these artificial measures of, racial categorization, that's too much for them to come out and say. So we'll just pretend we're all keeping it a buck. We're all about the truth. And I'm looking at this and I'm telling you now that there were no blacks in North Africa. And if you know, this literally says the science has been done. This ivory bangle lady was a black lady, a black as they come. She was North African. North African does not exclude black. In fact, the indigenous people to North Africa, believe it or not, were black people. And constantly today, you can see it happening in lifetime. Black people getting pushed down further, squeezed down further down into Africa. It happened when the Aswan Dam was flooded, and hundreds of thousands of black people who lived for thousands of years in the Aswan region, in Egypt proper, were pushed out of their homes. Many having to leave to go down into neighboring Sudan. Because the Arab Egyptian government said, we don't care about all these antiques that we're going to flood, all these sites of great heritage. We're just going to flood you, we're going to kick you out of your homes, and we're going to build this dam, and damn you. No pun intended. And that's happening till today. Go to Mauritania. What are they called? The indigenous people of Mauritania, they're enslaved today by newcomer Arabs. Many of them, dark-skinned black Africans. And we're not supposed to talk about it. We're supposed to pretend it doesn't exist. It's happening lifetime. North Africa was once Black Africa. And not that long ago either. So, anyway, I'm just going to get off my soapbox. That's just a massive digression I think it was worth going into. And anyway, there we go. So, let's just, there's this being sold as well. Again, take a close look at this woman. We're talking, I would say, Nilotic features. But again, you don't have Middle Easterners looking like this. You don't have the Middle Easterners. Look at the description. An ancient Roman red ware fragment from North Africa depicting a are these people like... This is supposed to be some high-class website. They can't even do proper grammar. Depicting an naturalistic face. No. Just not. I hate to have to teach you how to speak English, but depicting a naturalistic face of a young male individual. His accentuated traits are rendered, or at least they talk about the elephant in the room in this case. His accentuated traits are rendered with great sensitivity, particularly his slender nose and plump lips, raised in a faint smile. Heavy eyelids shape his large almond eyes. But at least they point out the elephant in the room. They point out his prominent lips They point out his large almond heavy eyelids and almond eyes. That's all there, and it's being sold. This is an ancient piece going for just £175. There's just something not right about that. It's priceless. It shouldn't be up for sale. It should be in a museum somewhere in Africa. Right. Here we go. Here's a Roman ring being sold. Now check this guy. Check this out. Check this out. Any money people in the chat, if you want to pick this up for a cool £6,950 in dollars. What that was that in dollars? That's about 10K. A Roman gold ring featuring an ellipsoid bezel containing an onyx cameo. The ring consists of a wide, flattened band leading to a deep oval cell. This has been soldered onto the ends of the hoop with 2 gold granules, adding further embellishment at each end. Listen to this bit. The intaglio features a profile facing a profile. This is madness. Is it just me or these people? They're so entrenched and so ensconced in their privilege that these man don't even bother to write properly. It's just, what are you gonna do about it? We got your stuff, we got your pictures, and we're just gonna not even spell properly or put proper sentences up. The facial features are intricately presented, with precise details outlining the portrait's eyes, nose, mouth, and elaborate hair texture. Well, it's not elaborate hair texture, is it? It's just black hair. It's just black hair. The cameo relief is created from 2 layers of onyx. This is how they sound. This is how they present a front of the fake intellectuals.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
Yeah, you're a fake and a fraud. You're not intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud. So this is how they present like a front of being. They're just, again, like, I don't know if you ever, it's so long ago now, if you remember Meta Fraud, his whole, in total 2 hours of nonsense was just filled with random words that he turns out he didn't know half of them because he kept getting himself in trouble for using words he didn't, Hamito-Semitic or whatever it was. And then he came back saying he didn't know what that meant. This gives me the same vibes, Meta Fraud vibes, just words, elaborate hair texture. These people said elaborate hair texture. Nerd Large, you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. They had more of an interaction with Egypt than they did with Nubia. The Romans did. Especially because they never conquered Ethiopia. Ethiopia was way they tried, but it was too much effort. Queen Amadinaras of Ethiopia made sure they didn't go anywhere near Ethiopia. So it might even have ended the Roman Empire. That whole thing might have ended the Roman Empire. They had to sue for peace. Go and look it up if you know, you know. I'm sure everyone in this chat knows about Queen Amadinaras and her stand against the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire having to say, okay, fine, we'll just call it a truce. They didn't want that smoke. So when we talk about Nubia, when this person says Nubia, again, just fake intellectual.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
I bet as well. I'm with you, Nerd Large. This looks to me like an Egyptian person. Again, the hair texture is just what we see on the Egyptian walls. It's the same thing. Going for 6,950. You know what? I get enough super chats and I'll be buying it myself.
Here comes the money.
I will be buying it myself. I promise you that I will be buying it myself if I ever got the chance. If I had the money, I would buy all these pieces. I really would. I'd have my house decked out in it, and you all can pay me to come and see. No, I'm joking. It'd be free, free for the public to to come on view. Okay, so let's leave this for now. Okay, let's get out of this. Right. Let me present you with. I'm gonna do a few more, but I'm telling you now, guys, I cannot finish this tonight. I will have to do part 2, possibly, probably tomorrow night or Monday evening. Yeah, I'll have a think about it. Right, let's go to something called Lapada. Lapada, they're another antique dealers. I think they're UK based, and I found so much on their website that was quite interesting. A lot of Moorish things, some Moorish things on their website that made me think, right. Let's look into this. Let's get started. Actually, I'm gonna take a break. A quick break, no longer than 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Everyone. Okay. Let's just get this back on. Okay, we're back. We're back. We're back. All right, let's get back into it. Let's get back into it. Lapada. Don't know what that stands for. I couldn't find out. I couldn't get to that in time. But this belongs to the Congolese people. Possibly lost. Not even possibly, most likely lost during the period in which you had the scramble for Africa, and Congo lost its sovereignty completely to the Belgians. And we have here, it says a Democratic Republic of Congo, Mongo Saka people's long oval wicker worked shield. That's the back of it. Very well designed. That's someone's heritage, and that's probably war booty. Let me go. Let's go deep into this image. Ex-Belgian collection. It's described as a Central African Democratic Republic of Congo, Mongo Saka people's long oval wicker worked shield. Rattan, raffia, and wood. Good condition. Late 19th century. Sugar. Late 19th century. I think that just looks amazing. On no other continent in the world is there a wider spectrum of shield types than Africa. The craftsmanship of the individual tribes and the local availability of plants and animals played a decisive role in the development of individual shield types. Wicker shields came from the areas of tropical rainforests. The Saka people were one of the 60 sub-tribes of the Mongo who constitute the most important Bantu group. These are all terms imposed upon Africans, upon blacks. We had nations, we didn't have tribes. That's what you want to say, to primitivize people. But we had nations, we had empires too. Believe it or not, it's just patronizing tribes. It's a load of rubbish. We know it is. It's like if I started saying the English tribe, the French tribe, you reconstituted the map. You literally sat around the table. I want to make this a rant about history and the injustices of things, but inevitably you have to talk about these things when we're talking about our history, because it's so linked. It's actually linked with all this rubbish and all this. It's like they often like to say, oh, why can't you just talk about your history, and why do you have to beat people over the head with it? Well, it's not beating people over the head with it. Like, up until like the 70s, people still couldn't vote in. People still couldn't vote. So it's like, well, could we allowed to talk, or are we allowed to talk? It's like, come on, guys.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
It's just ridiculous. And sadly, it was you guys doing a lot of that nastiness. So, whatever. So, but we didn't have tribes, we had nations. Thank you very much. The Saka Nation, I'll correct that. The Saka Nation are one of the 60 sub-tribes of the Mongol who constitute the most important Bantu group. Amongst them are a large number of pygmy groups. Living in the rainforest, the Mongol peoples all make and use shields constructed from 2 layers of wicker, put one on top each other, and then stabilized by a braided reed or cane rim. This is from the Central African Democratic Republic of Congo. And you know what? Petrina Oldfield, thank you for that comment. It is beautiful. It actually is just delicious to look at. Let me see if I can get... Yeah, there you go. There's the front of it. Stunning. Let me give you a close-up. Wow, look how tightly packed that is. Look at how intricate. Excuse me. I'm a bit close to the microphone there. Look how intricate that is. That is amazing. Wow. Mm. It's just amazing to look at. It is beautiful. Right. I'm gonna move on. Right, this is gonna start me on another rant. This, what you're looking at right here, I'll read it for you and let you. Wow, this is going for £19,500. £19,500. A gold shader, polychrome decorated white clay life-size figural modeled as a North African boy. Okay, that's what you got here. And again, once again, like I said to you, the displacement of blacks, the indigenous people of all of Africa. I shouldn't have to preface it, but the displacement of the indigenous people of North Africa has been a continuous process that of which much of was actually done. I say still a significant part of it was done recently, so we're not talking just it all happened in ancient times or in 100 AD, 200, 400 AD. No, we're talking even as recently as the 1800s. You could go to North Africa, Egypt, and find 40, 30, at least 30% of the people you were walking past just black people. In the last live that I did, White Psychosis, we were studying an article by a gentleman, and he pointed out that a lot of the soldiers, the World War One soldiers who came from Australia and New Zealand, places far away from the continent and far away from Africa, who came to serve, when they were serving alongside Egyptian soldiers, when they were doing that alongside Egyptian soldiers serving in World War One, they kept saying they put us with N-words. They've put us alongside. They were fighting with alongside N-words. They were stunned at the quota of Egyptians, North Africans, Moroccans, Libyans who were black, just black. Just black. That was in the early 1900s, guys. So this is a North African boy, okay? £19,500 it's going for, wearing a fez, standing by a small stool raised on a circular base. And this is on the website Lapada. And the dealer there is H&H Gallery, London. Okay? Frederick Goldscheder and his successors were by far the most important publishers of terracotta art, both by the quality and the quantity of the production. Editions of the Goldscheder family have long since gained international renown and are the subject of numerous collections in Europe, the United States, and Japan. He exhibited in all major events in Austria, but also at the World Expositions abroad, where he was rewarded many times. The condition, very good. Okay, period 1850 to 1899. So this isn't an anomaly. So you're not going to see this and say, some people would see this and say, oh, it was an intriguing subject, a black boy in North Africa. You can already hear people saying that. It's because I've seen them say that as well in on forum boards. They say they only took these subjects because, well, if that was so, they kept on doing it. They must have some fascination. And then that begs another question: why? If these were just rare people in North Africa in the 1800s who European visitors to the continent were just infatuated with, why? What's so what's so good about us? Anyway, whatever. There he is there, and here's another one. From the same website, going for 45,000 Great British pounds. This is by Keisha Anderson. Pair of bronze and marble busts of a North African man and woman. Check these guys out. Dealer is Mayfair Gallery Limited, London. Right, you can see that there on the side, on the right-hand side. This is a beautiful work. You've spent all this money crafting out of marble black folk in the 1800s. Bronze and marble busts of a North African man and woman, 1883. The base by H. Dawson, 1885. From the collection of the late Sir Arthur Gilbert. These are black folks you're looking at, people. North African. I'll zoom in a bit, just so people want to debate. That's a black man. I mean, in a few years, they'll tell us this color isn't brown or it's not black. It's, I don't know. What color would you call this, guys, you know? Oh, no, they'll say it's darkened, like the wood in Egyptian, like the wood in Egyptian tombs. It's darkened. It should be the color of this, his cloak. It's just darkened. You can see the woman next to him. She's a black woman also. Plump lips, full plump cheeks and high cheekbones there. And this is North Africa in the 1800s, late 1800s. Okay, there we go. Okay, right. Yes, he is. Petrina Oldfield. Yes, he is. He's just another... That boy I showed earlier is just another black boy in Africa. Just another black boy in Africa. Okay, there we go. Right, so... let's go on. There we go. That's a close-up. There we go again. This being sold... check this out. North African man. I'm just showing you this to show this is sold. Goodness knows how much. This would have gone for a lot. Now, this is a piece by a guy. No, exactly. They're not slaves. They can't. I think they know they can't use that all the time. So Nerd Large says, surprised they didn't call them slaves. Yeah, they can't use that all the time. You've got this. I looked into this fellow called Horace Vernet, Orientalist Portrait of a North African Man by Horace Vernet. Now, Horace Vernet was an artist around the same period in the 19th century, going around North Africa taking paintings of people that he saw. And quite a good amount of his paintings in these regions are of black people. They're just of black folks. Some of them you can get. Some of them are publicly available for you to see. A lot of them are in private collections being sold and swapped like this, like you see here. This is a North African man. You can't deny that this is a black man. Again, we're talking the 1800s here. Okay, we're talking the 1800s and a North African man. And this isn't an exception. Again and again, even as late in the game as the 1800s, the late 1800s, you go and watch the King's Monologues video on ancient Egypt, not ancient Egypt, Egypt in the early 20th century. And you'll see those reels, those videos, those pictures of North African Egyptian people who are just black folk all over Egypt, all over the streets of Egypt, you know. And again, the racism that we're seeing, the displacement of black people across the world, and the hostility towards black people that we're seeing isn't historical. It's actually it's present. There's actually still a lot of animosity, particularly in the Arab world, towards. You go to Yemen, and look like this man. I don't know. Whether it's something in the culture, whether it's in the religion. I don't know much about Islam. I don't know whether it's that, but it's there. There's an antipathy, an animosity towards just black Africans across these Middle Eastern countries. So I want to show you some more pieces by Horace Vernet. There he is again. Oh, this is look at this piece, guys. I want to show you this. Again, this is on the Lapada website. This is price on request. Oh, you know, this is gonna set you back a few G's. When it says price on request, rare South African songa or Zulu carved ebony prestige staff. Look at this thing. Look at the shine on it. This, this belonged to a king or a chief, a Zulu chief or a king. It says description: rare South African songa, ebony prestige staff depicted. This is in someone's private collection. This is just chilling. It's probably sold off now. You might want to go on the website and see. It might be sold off by now. But the dealer is Finch and Co. London, and this is all stuff that's acquired when they were raiding us, and taking. I need to stop saying they, because it is historic fact, but it sounds like I'm a bit racist myself, but it is truth. It is the truth, But this is what was happening during the scramble for Africa. Pieces like this were being taken. I had a woman on the channel. I had a woman come on my channel saying, I did a video. One of my first videos on the channel was about the Benin bronzes. And a lady, most likely a Caucasian lady, came in and said, well, I, for one, am glad that these pieces have been preserved by the British Museum, because otherwise they would have been stolen. And yeah, but you're missing the point. I had to reply back, and I took everything I had to reply very, very politely and not have any sort of any a risible tone and an angry tone to my response. I just said, well, they were taken from somewhere. They were taken from their shrines and their temples. So when they were taken, they were being cared for very well, thank you very much. So it's like these people saying, "Oh, I'm so glad that the British Museum is now being a custodian of these things. Otherwise, we'd lose them." Well, we only lost it's like the thief coming to your house and taking that nice HD 4K television in your house, and you going, you seen it a couple of days later in some garage sale or something, and saying that, hey, that's mine. And say, and the burglar turns to the person with your goods, say, look, it's being cared for. Don't you understand? It would have been lost and not been curated properly if I didn't break into your house, kill your wife, fear your kids, and take this and curate it for you. Don't you understand? So I just had to kind of put her in her place there. Anyway, so a rare South African songa, carved ebony prestige staff depicting an important elder or leader wearing a head ring, isikoko, his waistband, neck ring, and eyes inlaid with brass studs. Wow. Brass studs, that is, you see there, guys. That's interesting. I don't know why I didn't notice that detail myself earlier. I didn't know what it was, I suppose. Okay, let's go on to the next one. What do you mean by that, Patrina? You said we did lose them. We did lost them. What are you saying? Anyway, yeah, there it is up close. Right, this picture. So I spoke to you earlier about uh Horace Vernet, who did great works like this, the North African man. But he also did many more things. Now, what's his name? Oh, I forgot his name now. Kapruski or Kapruki. He did a wonderful video on the Moors, and he showed the hypocrisy of how Western institutions often changed the name of paintings when it was uncomfortable for them to admit what they were looking at. So you got paintings of 15th, 16th, 17th, 14th century paintings and iconography titled Moors, more, again and again. The problem with that for the Western uh, mindset is it's uncomfortable. We all know who the Moors were. The Moors were people who, for a large period of time, dominated North Africa, and not just Africa, but owned much of Southern Europe. Okay, they owned Southern Europe, and they brought massive amounts of science, technology, and advancement to Southern Europe at a time when Europe was suffering the Dark Ages. They were fueled by Islam in many cases, and by the sort of the zeal that Islam provided them, a sort of religious element as well. But these were black folks. By and large, they were black people. We have Roman documents that prove that. The contingent of Moors that were black was not a mean thing. Was not like we're talking a lot. The majority of people that the Romans knew as Moors were blacks. We have anthropological evidence for that. So when you have deep into the last millennium, like at least halfway into the last millennium, Europeans titling their paintings of black people more. It's kind of problematic for people who now want to pretend that more just means Arabs. They've done that recently. They're even I've showed this in other videos. They're trying to pretend to you that Moors were like, they were just Arabs and Muslims, and some of them happened to be black. No. You've got, anyway, I digress. What they tend to do now is they rename these paintings. This painting that you're looking at by Horace Vernet, who was a painter prominent in the 19th century, mid 19th century, was titled The Black Arab. You can see there in the top left-hand corner. It's called the Arab Negre. Arab Negra, I don't know how you would say it. It's French. And he's obviously a black boy. And he was serving, the information on this says he was serving, let me show you this. Yes, Patrina, they were taken care of long before they come. Yeah, long before they came. Some of them were home for hundreds of years before taken. Yeah, exactly. That was my point to the lady who came and, patronizingly said, well, so let's everybody calm down. We needed to come and rob you because they wouldn't have been cared for. And we all know, yeah, well, they were being cared for, thank you very much, before they were raided. So anyway, that's the sophistry you get with a lot of this stuff. Emile Jean Horace Vernet, 1789 to 1863, was principally famous for his paintings of battles and military personnel. In the first half of the 19th century, the Armée d'Afrique, as well as European personnel, included indigenous North African volunteers. This is as late after all the displacement of North Africans, of indigenous, the original inhabitants of North Africa by the Turkic Ottomans and the northern Arabs. You still, in the time that Vernet is drawing people in North Africa, you still have a sizable enough contingent of blacks, of indigenous blacks, that he has no choice but to draw them. So the African army had volunteers, Spahis, Gumiers, Tirailleurs. The conquest of Algeria took place, this is by the French, between 1830 and 1847. Numerous battles were fought, the most famous of these being the Prise de Smala and the Battle of Ailly or Isly. His patron, King Louis Philippe, sent Vernet to Algeria to prepare a painting depicting the Prise de Smala. The following year, he visited somewhere called Essaouira and later painted the Battle of Isly or Isly, which took place there. He also traveled through Africa and the Middle East. Vernet was therefore in contact with soldiers of the Army d'Afrique who wore similar uniforms to the subject here. Vernet brought costumes and other props back to Paris, and he used these for his paintings, such the Prise de Smala, such as, again, these are high level websites, supposedly like catering to the rich and whatever. They can't even be bothered to proofread their entries. It's meant to read such as the Prise de Smala, a vast painting, blah, blah, blah. So it is recorded that in 1846, Paris, Vernet submitted the painting as a black Arab. Okay? But I have seen this just, look, it's titled here, An Officer of the Army d'Afrique. No, he called it a black Arab. He titled this a black Arab. So that's important, because when people want to cry about, oh, you're stealing other people's history, don't put yourselves in places you don't belong when you do these movies, get back in your place. No, this is our place, thank you very much. We're on the African continent. Arabs were once black. That's documented before the incursion of the Aryan migrations and the Turkic migrations deep into North Africa and southern Arabian Peninsula, into places like Yemen. All of that region, black people, somewhat Nilotic in features, so Eastern African in features, but sometimes not. So you've got just a black person here being painted by Vernet in 1800s, and they've decided to change it to just from a black Arab to an officer of the Army d'Afrique. That's not what he entered it as. That is not what he entered the portrait. That's not what he titled his portrait. Oh, it's been sold, by the way, this. Sold for £16,250. Okay? You're not going to get this, I don't think, on a public gallery somewhere. This has been done by Bonhams. So we have lots and lots of... This is what they'll have in their private collections whilst they deny our presence in these places. Whilst they tell us that we were never anywhere. We were all of us, for all time, we were just waiting for them to come and cart us off. Here's another painting by Vernet. It's an Arabian scene. Look at these individuals. I'm just zooming in so you can have a look at the faces here. That's a black face. That's a black face.
That's suspicious.
No, it's not suspicious, Cardi.
That's weird.
It's not suspicious and it's not weird. It's just a black face in an Arab setting. It's called this is called the Arab Tale Teller by Horace Vernet. And you can see two clearly black people here. They're not slaves. They've not got chains around them. They're black folk in an Arab setting. That shouldn't surprise you. It's right. It's not even separate from Africa. It's part of one contiguous landmass, the Arabian Peninsula. You got two decidedly black folk there. But I'm going to show you something. There's another black individual there. right there. You see them on the right hand side there. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Patrina. There's a case of saying they're all blacks. They're actually all blacks, but um, the ones that you can't debate about is what I'm highlighting here. The ones that there's no debate about, you can see there. Okay, right. I don't know how much that's been. I think that's in the public gallery somewhere. I've seen that somewhere else before. Now that's the same there. I was gonna ask a question about this. Anyway, I'll do that later. Now, I want to see if you guys can help me with something. Um, yeah, Nerd Large, more time traveling Afrocentrists who painted this to claim other people's history. Yeah, right, exactly. Oh no. We must have painted that. Yeah. Someone must have edited that. They do that with a portrait of. Oh, I'm digressing massively. They do it with a portrait of I think it's Amenhotep, and you can find it at the Louvre. Kweli Mika did a great piece on that, where he pointed that piece out, and he said this has been claimed by some of these idiots as being an Afrocentrist reconstruction. But no, it's actually in the Louvre. You got Amenhotep looking as black as can be with a full-on afro, a profile portrait, his features as black as anything, and they actually think it's been, it's just fake. All right, cool. I need help with this. Now, this, I don't know whether this is being sold. I don't think it's being sold. I think it's in a public gallery somewhere. But I want you to see something, because it's not the first time I've actually spotted this. Now, you might say to me, I don't think anyone in the chat actually right now would say this. There's a guy, I had to block him earlier today. I don't know. Press 1 if you know Dr. Steve. This guy keeps disturbing the flow of, and I've ignored him for so long, but today I just had to block him because he's just wasting time. He comes and he says things like, "You have no credentials to say any of this." It's just a load of rubbish. But this painting purports to show a battle called the Battle of Soma, and it's an Algerian battle. Now, the individual to the top right corner looks like an Arab gentleman, a dark-skinned Arab gentleman, or wouldn't call him African. This guy at the bottom falling back. Now, in this version of the painting, okay, fine. Looks like another dark-skinned Arab. But let me show you another version of this painting. Now, I can't work out which one came first and which one has been doctored. Which one has been and we have evidence of this in other instances. But let me show you this guy. Look at this version of the painting, guys. A much clearer piece. Oh, it won't let me go any further. Oh no, I need to go deeper than this. It won't let me go any further. Okay, right. I don't know if you can see that. Look close and look at the guy falling down. Can you see that that's a black individual, a black African individual, as opposed to this guy, who is in a completely different pose as he's falling to the ground? And look at this guy. That's a black guy. So what's that? They're both obviously the same painting. What's going on? So I don't know what's going on there. Right. Here's a guy called Jose Tapiro Barro. Every time of he's another one like Vernet, who did lots of paintings of Moroccans. Okay, and every time he does these paintings, I think I found 10 of his subjects of Moroccan people, and out of those 10, 7 are black. Again, this is a guy a European walking the streets of Morocco in 18 whatever. Here's one subject. Here's another 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 subject, a female this time. Now, what's going on? I could find 3 of his paintings of people in Morocco, portraits of Moroccans that were what you would call modern day Moroccans. You know, these are Berbers. Again, I just asked the same question. Are we talking about black people who have doctored these and have written themselves into the history of Morocco, into that time and place? I don't know. If I was to show you the current king of Morocco, the current sultan of Morocco, you would say, oh, he looks like he's got some black in him. But it's not looks like, he does. Because you go back long enough, and I'm going to do a video on this very soon, and his father, his great-great-great-great-grandfather, was the notorious black sultan, Moulay Ismail. Man, it's just, it's ridiculous. So there we go. This is by Horace Vernet. This is called Judah and Tamar from the Bible, the biblical story. Just ignore the little thing on display there. Just censor that. We got Horace Vernet depicting Judah, one of the sons of Jacob, as this. Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see the hue on that man's skin? Okay, fine. His nose is aquiline, but that's, to me, that's looking like a Eastern African man rather than a. You can see the crispiness and the kinkiness of his beard there, and how it points forward. That's African hair, because African hair isn't downy, it doesn't flow downwards. Whenever I try to grow my beard out, which I'm lucky, I'm blessed with, I can actually grow a beard. It frustrates me in that it points forwards and upwards. It doesn't. It's very stubborn. When it gets to a very full point, I want it to kind of just stick downwards and just brood a little, but it doesn't do that. My beard will just bounce forwards like this guy's beard is doing. That's a property. That's an effect. If you know what if you know, you know. That's why we perm our hair, because we're trying to get that effect that our hair doesn't do. It's stubborn. It's amazing hair. Okay, and that for me decides the ethnicity of this man you're looking at. This is an East African looking man. So Vernet, and he's quite an honest painter. I'll tell you what he said about himself in a bit. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. This is one of the children of Israel. And why is Vernet painting this? Does he know something that we're not allowed to know now? You know? Right. Here's another painting by Vernet showing a lion hunt. Look at this majestic Negro man on this camel here. Everyone's on a horse, faster and faster, and he's doing the most. He's on a bare camel, and he's got 2 cubs in his arms there. The lioness trying to reach for the cubs, and everyone else just like a little bit away from the fray. That's painted by Vernet. And that's in a gallery somewhere or being sold somewhere. There's more than just him that's black in this painting. There's this fellow down here who looks like an Eastern African man. And the others are lighter-skinned Arab men. of the more prevalent type today. So that's Vernet's work. Look at what he says about himself. Look what he says about his work. This is the man talking himself. There's some of his works here. Just show you a bit of he painted lots and lots of things across North Africa. And he says down here, he says, one well-known and possibly apocryphal anecdote, possibly apocryphal, we don't know if it's true, is that he said this, it's an anecdote, maintains that when Vernet was asked to remove a certain obnoxious general from representing war in an accessible one of his... This is unbelievable. Complete nonsense of a sentence. Anyway, this is what Vernet says in response to somebody asking him to censor an image or just kind of get rid of something. I am a painter of history, sire, and I will not violate the truth. So if that's true, this guy isn't just going to North Africa and these places and trying to present something that's not there. You know, he's not there with an agenda. He's painting the sights and sounds that he sees. And quite a lot of his things, quite a lot of his artwork is depicting black people across North Africa. And yet, if Netflix were to do a film now, never mind the fact that the descendants, the current descendants of Moroccan, the current sultans across North Africa descend from black kings. We have their paintings. I didn't get that ready for this live, but we have their paintings. Never mind all of that. If Netflix were to do a thing, a historical documentary or a historical movie on North African, God forbid they put a black person as the main character. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the outrage? Brothers and sisters, I don't know what... That's why I started this channel. That's why I started this endeavor, because I stumbled on our history. Let me not lie. I stumbled. I know history was something I did well at high school, secondary school, and at college, and also went on to teach it part-time as a tutor. And I also went on to then do a humanities at university, which I did well at, and I just loved history. But one thing that I didn't, in my getting historical knowledge, I realized I didn't actually know anything about my history. And that wasn't all my fault. A lot of my history is brushed under the carpet, is sort of minimized as ancillary or subject to someone else's history. So it's sad. And I tell you what now, guys, some people think this doesn't matter. And I used to think it didn't matter. I used to fall for that ruse. But a lot of the energy of people of the Western hemisphere now comes from knowing that they've got history, that they've got a proud heritage. It fills you with a fire in your belly. Come on, you can't tell me it doesn't. It fills you with a fire in your belly to know your heritage, to know good and bad, great and not so great, but to know that your ancestors mattered. Do you know what I mean? So it's important. If it's important to some people to know, to look at artwork, to look at architecture, to look at writings and say, oh, wow, this is, and to teach it and perpetuate it and colonize other people and force them to know your history, then don't you think it's important for us to know our history? But we don't. We don't. We buy the lie that, oh, we didn't write our history down at all anywhere. Yes, we have, the black diaspora have a strong affinity for oral history, okay? But not altogether. Not altogether. We did write down our history too. But even that's hidden from us. Even that's hidden from us. The earliest, the oldest writing scripts belong to Africans. Go look at the Meroitic script. Go look at hieroglyphics, who Diodorus Siculus writes is an Ethiopian script given to the Egyptians, taken and adapted and moved upwards to the Egyptians. The Meroitic script is still undeciphered. It's not understood as the hieroglyphics are, as the Egyptian hieroglyphics are. Now, which one's going to be older? The one that you've deciphered or the one that you can't decipher? Of course it's the one that you can't decipher. Of course it's the one you can't decipher. Now, I want to go on. I really want to go on. But guys, I'm going to have to save the rest of this for tomorrow. We've looked at a lot. There's part 2 tomorrow is going to be heavily focusing on Egyptian stuff that they've kept from us. So I've done a lot of Moorish things tonight. I've done a bit of, I hope I've whetted your appetite with some of the Egyptian stuff we looked at the beginning and the North African stuff from ancient Rome. But guys, I'll say stick with me. I'm going to have to do this in 2 parts, maybe even 3 parts, but it's worth it. So tomorrow evening, I think I'll make my mind up overnight or sometime tomorrow early in the morning. But I'll make my mind up whether it's tomorrow evening, but no later than Monday evening. So I'll let the community know. But thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you've had a good time. And just let me know in the chat. Press 1 in the chat if you've had a great time. Or if it's just no. Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna cannot wait to show some more of these things. I just go back to this image just once more. This North African man, this Arab negri, however you would say it. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely brilliant. Not just an officer in the French in an African army. Thank you, Science and Inspiration. Thank you for that. I just love this paint. I don't know why. I just love it. There you go. Right, guys. I'm about to bow out and say thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. And either tomorrow or Monday evening. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Many blessings.